One of the best indicators of water height is these flowers. They all grow about the same height, and if you look, you see how they stop growing at any deep water. If they can't reach above the water, they don't grow. So you know that that's the deep channel right there. And then same exact thing. River. In here, see there's a shallow part right there. But if you come in, you can just follow the part that doesn't have the flowers to get all the way back there. Same thing here. You know that the creek splits into two because the flowers make a point right here. It's a really useful tool right in spring as the water's coming up, so you don't run aground or hurt your prop. Two different parts of this video today. Number one, a buddy of mine is taking a shanty boat out for the first time overnight. Number two, I'm going to make some potters for the raft to put tomato plants in and some wild grass for cricket, that kind of thing. The interesting part about the shanty boat, doesn't have a motor, not a trolling motor. I mean, honestly, I don't even think he has a push rod or a motor in the back, nothing. It's just 3 pontoons with a house on it, and he has a pontoon boat. So the whole thing about taking it out from the dock, taking it to an island, driving it, we're gonna figure that all out, and it's going to be exciting. I really think there's a large amount of people that just don't have engines on their houseboats, and they move them out for 2 weeks, bring them back to the dock, and they don't use the boat for 6 months, and then they take it back out for another month, put it back, and there's just the fact of not having a motor on it saves them a lot of trouble with the effort of not only buying the motor, like the actual cost of the motor in some of these cases, there's twice the price of putting a shanty boat together. And everyone typically has a fishing boat or a small boat where they can push them around. So it's actually a real feasible way to do this while saving a few $1,000s on the build. And then what we don't really talk about is the console. Wherever you put it on the boat, wherever you put the motor, wherever you put the fuel tanks, all that stuff is space and weight being used that could be used in another way. Where you already have another boat, fishing boat or dinghy, to move them around. I've been moving this thing around with a trolling motor and a dinghy for I'm pretty sure it's more than a year now, without ever even using the motor in the back. And I would get a lot of spare space if I took out the console, and the boat would be able to hold another 500 pounds of weight on the back, might even be 700 pounds, if I didn't have the motor. So yeah, anyways, this is a whole nother way to look at it, and we're gonna go take a trip and see how it goes. We're gonna take this shanty boat out on the water. Okay, so he pulled in nose to nose and hooked up one line right there, and his plan is to pull into the wind and basically jackknife that whole thing into being side tied, which is brilliant. And so I haven't really helped him other than untying some lines. So this whole process right now, he could be doing himself. And he's clearly thought about this because he came up and said, I want to do it this way, and it's working. It's clearly working. All right, I'm gonna get over there. Okay, so he just started driving forwards, and it's at the point where he can almost grab it. It's a matter of having a rope. It's too easy. I'm gonna do a couple S's. I want to see how it. It reacts quicker than the dinghy. And you can see through the window. You know, if you open all your windows, it might be... It's right on the tin roof, too. You're amazing, brother. So simple to move these things around. I mean, I'm sure in like a huge wind or a lot of waves, you just wouldn't want to do it. Yeah. And then next, I mean, so he's going to have to put the boat back. There's going to have to be some way to put the boat back in the dock, and we'll look at that, how he figures that out. I was going to think about it or kind of come up with a way, but honestly, he's spending enough time thinking about this stuff that it's working out for him, so I'm just going to just observe it, right? And then learn from it, because I'll tell you, the one thing I've learned is if you have 2 pontoon boats, one has a motor and you can go water skiing and tubing and go to get pizza down 20 miles down the river and stuff, and then once every 2 weeks you move your shanty boat with that pontoon boat, just doesn't seem like a bad idea at all. Yeah, you're cutting the maintenance cost, you're cutting the initial cost of motors in half just by not buying another motor, and then having maybe a trolling motor on the shanty boat for when you just want to move around. I don't know. Or maybe, let's say you go out with it without the pontoon boat for a day or two, the trolling motor would help. Yeah, it's just whole nother aspect of looking at this that I've been thinking about over the last year, that I watch people down south that take their they put houses on floats. It's not a houseboat, it's not a shanty boat. They're not using a boat base. They're just building a cabin on top of a floating dock, and they move it around with duck boats.
The colder the night, the warmer your hands hold. Held in your arms, the hole in my head grows whole. And I don't wanna die alone, but I don't wanna die at all. I'm not gonna keep you by the phone, dear. Hang up when you had enough. Too much to talk. Call me when you come down. Call me when you're here. And all is well that ends well, but all is well that ends. Clocks make out from the monsters in my head. Do you wanna know my name? Is that all you wanna take from me? In your arms, the yes, in my eyes, and I don't wanna die in my sleep when you live. No, call me when you're hanging. No, call me when you live. Call me when you come down. Call me when you.
We have officially entered summer mode. Essentially, you're never going to see River walking on the beach unless I have cleared the beach for nope ropes, or he'll be on a leash. Also, this deck right now has been moved back to the back of the boat, and the dinghy is on the other side of the boat. So currently the dog and the cat are trapped 12 feet from shore on the back of the boat. They are also not out here anytime I'll do a project. They'll either be leashed up right next to me or not on the land. It's enough for me to worry about where the nope ropes are for myself. They will spend hours out on shore every day, but I will be there while they do it. These boards did not come to me with a price tag. In fact, they were a poplar tree 2 years ago, and we turned them into boards on a wood mill. Now, they are cut-off ends from our raft that I had stacked here last year, coming back, and we're using them to make planters. I look at trees very differently now that I can turn them into boards. I also look at lumber yards and Home Depot very differently now that I don't need them. Well, there's the first one. So basically you run string back and forth around the boards going up the side, and then the tomatoes or squash or whatever I put in there. I want something that's viney, so I kind of want, I don't know, we'll see. I'll order seeds next week. Two cups of coffee, 1 cup of tea. That's a long project. River! You need to work on your aggression. You're too aggressive. You could have approached that with a little less gusto. You probably, yeah, you almost fell in the water. I saw it. We all saw it. Your paws are wet. This entire cliff face is facing north. And where we're at, it's always shaded. The entire cliff face is shaded, the whole thing. And it goes up about, I don't know, maybe 70 feet, maybe 100 feet. I mean, if you count the trees, it's going to be 200 feet up. Now, the water that comes through here and the wind that comes in here is automatically going to raise up because of this being shaded, cool air in here. And it's going to continuously force the air to come through here. So if you park your boat, you know, right along the shore here, it's not only are you going to have it to be shady, but cool breeze is going to work its way through here just because of the shape of this wall and the fact that it's going to be colder than the normal temperature of the air out here on a hot day. So it's one of those microclimates where you can rest assured that you can at least knock 10 degrees off. Plus, you're also in the shade, so you're knocking a lot of temperature off just being in the shade too. However, like every cliff face and every rocky territory, it comes with nope ropes. If you look dead center on that boulder right there, that's a cottonmouth rolled up for the evening, getting some sun, warming up on that rock. Oh, right there, right on top of the rock, right in front of the river. 1, 2, and then the third one is right over here. River, get back. Come on, you're good. Come here, get back. You should be using your nose and you'd be smelling them. You wouldn't have to look for them. That's the problem with you. Cattle dogs do that. They don't use their nose. They don't remember to use them. And he'd be going nuts right now if he just closed his mouth for a second. And then the other one left. She was right there. I don't see him anymore. Oh, he's right there in the water, right there in the water. So there's 3 just in one camera shot without even turning the camera off. Sorry, it was a bad focus job and everything, but whatever. No cuts. Oh, yep, he's looking at us now. We're gonna back out of here. We're not helping them. See, you close your mouth and look at him. See, he used his nose. Now he's more concerned. That's what you should be doing every time we go anywhere, brother. Use your nose sometimes, buddy. There's one right there in the water. Oh, that's a water snake. Just a water snake. River. Hey. Oh shit, I take it back. That's a cottonmouth. Come here, with me, right now. With me. Come here, right now, with me. Yeah, look at the S. Showing his face. This is about the same size as the one we saw crossing the river the other day. Yeah, there's no question that's a cottonmouth. See how not only... River. Hey, I need you to relax, bud. You're going to get in trouble. You see how it lifts its head up, and you can see its head is much higher than any other snake. And then even its tail is above the water when it's in this little S shape. That's a venomous snake. Everything that I've ever learned about them is if you just sit here and you let it go, it's going to be on the other side of the boat and move on at the same speed. And they will travel a good... They'll do this shoreline, the shoreline behind me, and the shoreline across the way all in one day. And if they don't catch food, they'll do it a second time. So it's like, I guess maybe a full mile of shoreline, but it's in a circle. You know? They have a territory. And then they seem to rest in the same areas over and over and over too. Like this same snake will find the same spot that the sun hits it, and it'll rest there. And it'll sleep in the same spot. And it'll do these little tours that it's doing the same time twice a day. In the evening right now, and then in the morning. And it'll do the same tour. And you just find that they have patterns. You know? They're creatures of habit just like we are. I was gonna say, I was like, how long is it gonna take him to smell that? That was funny. That was a very delayed response, River. That one could have got us, River. Alright, let's go make some breakfast. You're fine. He's fine. You're good. We see it. Hey, stop. Harmless water snake. Alright, so Arthur's been out here all week. If you want to see the tour of his boat, I did a full tour of his boat and Jeff's boat all in one episode. So you can actually see the inside of his shanty. He basically didn't have lights the first night, so he went to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. He wired lights the second night. That was really the only issue he's had out here. And then the rest of the time has been him building different types of barriers and walls to try to keep his cat Daakness from jumping on the island. And eventually he actually ran and got some wire fencing, and he's got his whole front deck fenced in right now. So I'll show you some pictures of it. But basically, dude's retired, living out on the river, and his worst problem is that his cat's too adventurous. It's just awesome. Her name is Daakness. I have to say, cats are a lot easier to take care of on boats than dogs, and they love boats. They like to be around the water. You can't even see her. You can see her yellow eyes, but the rest is hidden. I wonder what would happen if Cricket met Daakness. Daakness. I think there would be a fight. I think Cricket's that kind of cat where she gets aggressive right away, but maybe I'm wrong. He's going to pull the boat up to the face dock at the end of his dock, and then they're going to walk the Nugget into its dock. Pretty easy way to deal with it. And that way, even if he was coming in on high winds or whatever, he's just docking one boat.
Filming Martin as he's coming in by me this morning.
Lots of lessons over the last week. Number one, the moving of one boat with another boat is pretty cool. The idea of having no motor on the houseboat is becoming more and more interesting to me. Really depends on how you use your boat. If you want to travel with it, it would not be the way to do that. If you're just going to hang out in one section of the river and use it for weekends, or move around 1 mile every 14 days, even if you're traveling, if you're only moving 1 mile every 14 days. But if you're going to put the miles in, it's not something I would recommend, right? Unless it's some, experimental process, or I don't know, like maybe going back to the olden days where you try to raft your way through somewhere. I don't know. But either way, to move it out of a marina slip and go 2 or 3 creeks down for the week or a month, very, very doable, and it makes a lot of sense because you have a lot more room on your boat. You don't have the weight of the fuel, the motor, and everything that goes with that. Anyways, the other one is Arthur had a list of things that he wanted to get done on his boat before he took it out. I think we all do. And the weather started to get nicer and nicer, and his list is still pretty long. He didn't want to leave the dock, but he decided to fold his list up, put it in his back pocket, and just come out here for just a couple days. And then the couple days turned into a week. And then that week turned into a lot of the things on his list don't need to be done. So once he's been out here, there's a different priority. The other thing is the things that he wants to do on his list are easier doing them on a beach out here. Like he wants to replace both his front and back deck. That's easier to do on a gravel bar, a sandbar out here on the gravel rather than at the dock. So just get out here. It doesn't matter if you just tie 2 rain barrels together with a bunch of boards and a tent. If you want to spend the night on the river, just go do it. You can survive. Even if you just bring a bottle of water, you can make it overnight. You know, it's a fun experience. And being here a week before this place wakes up is an amazing experience. And then being here when it's all asleep and you're awake and paying attention to it, whole nother level of an experience. 24, 36, 48 hours out in the wilderness resets your whole view on life. See you guys next time. Hey, little girl. What are you doing this morning?